Hi folks, shooting on the fly here. We're going to do another quick review of the Safariland Concealment holster. It's going to be for the Glock 34. The holster actually works for the 34 or the 35. Both of them fit in there. They're both the same frame. So just to start things off, we're going to start off with everything safe. You can see the action's open. There is a clear chamber. There's no round in the chamber, both visually and I can see down the barrel. No magazine in the gun, so everything is safe. That's the way we like to start. That's the way we like to finish. That's the way we like to stay. But so we're going to get into this holster here and see what we got. This is the way it comes. Comes from Safariland. It's a concealment holster for the Glock. As you can see, it's a paddle holster, and it's for the Glock 34 and 35, so the Glocks with the 5.3 inch barrels. And it's also belt loop or paddle holster, whichever one you want. So this is what all comes in the box. We'll open it up, and we're going to get the holster out. And we'll throw that aside. So we'll see what all it comes with. There's the holster. Got some instructions, tools, more parts, all kinds of good things to play with here. And we'll just kind of get started. As you can see, it's a paddle type holster. The way these holsters work is the paddle part here slides into your pants. The holster part for your gun stays outside of your pants. You can wear this with or without a belt. It's got a little hook here on the back that kind of helps it hook into place, especially if you did have a belt on from the inside of your pants. It would kind of snag your belt. So to get this on, you just kind of pull it out, slide it in. You just pull it out as much as you need to get it to go in, and you actually just kind of grab the bottom of it, start sliding it down. You hold out on the outside of the holster, but you try not to put very much pressure on it. Because you know they say you could break the paddle. Although this is pretty substantial paddle, and it's put together on screws, so it seems to work. Seems to have a little heft to it. So I don't think you're going to have that much problem there. But that's what they say in the instructions. So you know that's what we're going to tell you to do. This is a retention holster. It does no active retention other than just this retention screw here. The gun slips in really well, fits just perfect for the Glock 34, and if you want it a little tighter, you can adjust this screw down a little bit. If you want a little looser, you can loosen it up. This basically just works like a vise. It just tightens down this part of the holster so that the gun is retained in the holster the way you want it to be. So it goes in good, it comes out good. You can adjust it for however you want it to go in or come out. But then you look on the inside of this, and it's got a nice little felt lining on the inside here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so maybe we can take a look at that. Hold it in the light. You can see the nice little felt in there. That does a real nice job of protecting your firearm, keeping you from getting scratches or anything else on it from the holster itself. Doesn't impede how it goes in or out, but it's a nice smooth piece of fabric that's, I guess it's glued in there for your gun to ride on when it goes in there. The opposite side is just a nice almost like a polished kydex, and this holster itself is pretty substantial. This is a pretty thick kydex. Seems to hold up really well. It's very firm. It doesn't have a lot of bend to it like some of the other holsters that I've seen. So I think this holster is going to last a long time, do a real good job of protecting the firearm. Now when I bought the package here, opened it up and said, well, we've got some extra parts, what can we do with those? And we've got a pretty extensive manual here, so I started looking through the manual and think, well, this thing must be everything you ever wanted to know about a holster, but we're afraid to ask. And because I looked at these instructions, opened them up, open the inside, there's even more, front and back, and wow. Well, that's not really as bad as it seems, because that seems to be every model holster that Safariland makes, and then they got each specific ones on each one of these panels. Well, this is the 5188 for the Glock, so it fits into the model 5181, 87, and 188, and it just kind of goes through the process that I just told you about how to get it onto your belt, not to pull out the holster more than necessary, as you might damage the paddle. And if you attach it to a belt, you know, with belt loops attached to a duty belt, you know, it might not be as secure if you're not, you know, if you're not attaching it to a belt. If you do use a belt with this, the maximum belt width is 1 3/4 inches, and then we've got the belt attachments. I thought in all of this that they would probably give us detailed instructions on how to take this and put this on it. But we would be wrong if we thought that. So I thought, well, we'll just look at it and see how it goes. Possibly we might need a tool. Well, they got one taped on the front of this, so why don't we just try that? We'll just go ahead and take that off of there. This works actually on a Phillips head, so that's not going to work. So we're going to put the tool in up here. It's a little Allen key, hex key, and we're going to remove these screws up here on the top. And I'll set those aside, and I'm going to remove the other screw on the top, and we'll set that aside. Now, the one thing about the paddle on this, you can't adjust this at all. It's where it is where it is. If you don't like the cant of the holster with the paddle, too bad, so sad that that's the way you're stuck with it. So now that we've got the paddle off, we can open up the package here and get the other little parts out that we've got. And we've got screws. First of all, I looked at that and go, why don't we have extra screws? Well, if you look, the screws that came out of it and the screws that went in, that have to go back in it, wouldn't be good if I had the screw in my gun there. The screws that go back in are a little longer. And so we're going to set the short ones aside. And then we have to take this, we're going to put it on here. We'll figure out what kind of angle we want to go on it, but this will not go on the holster till we take that guy off. So for that, we need a Phillips head screwdriver. We're just going to go there and remove that little piece right there. And we'll set that off to the side here. And now we're ready to proceed with our belt attachment. So the belt attachment goes on here. We've got one of 3 holes on the bottom, one of 3 holes on the top, and then this hole is not going to line up with anything other than itself. So I like my holster with kind of the FBI cant to it, right-handed. So to do that, I'm going to set it on the top hole here. I'm set it on the far back hole on the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and put those screws in. Now, the bottom screw, the Phillips head screw, is no longer going to be used on this. So we're going to get rid of it, and it's going to go back in with a screw that fits in with our Allen wrench here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it on first. Tighten it on down. And that's secure. Take that out. Now we're going to go to the top. Now, the reason these screws are longer is because we have an extra little piece here that's going to go in. And it's going to ride up here on top of our holes. And we're going to put the extra screws that came out of our package. We can go ahead and screw them in. We're going to need the same Allen wrench, hex key, whatever you want to call it, that came with the holster to get it going. Tighten that up there. Put the other one in. Tighten that one up. And then we're set to rock and roll. Those are nice and tight. Snug them up in there. I don't think you need to go too overly tight, although they are, they're not plastic in there. That is a metal attachment, so I think it's going to be a little better than that. So now we're ready to go. All we need is a belt. It's ready to go in. It's going to ride just like that. There's your belt. Comes straight through here. It's going to ride, you know, with the muzzle pointed just slightly to the rear, and ready for a quick draw right out of it. This is what I use for IDPA, along with the Glock 34, and seems to work really well. I'm really pleased with the holster. It seems to be really well made. I paid $25 for this holster on Amazon. Got it in a couple of days. Worked really good, and I'm very pleased with it. I think you would be too. That is my, out of 3 holsters that I do have, this is the one that I prefer the most, and this is the one that I use the most. So there you have the review of the Safariland Concealment holster, or duty holster, whichever one you wanted to, however way you wanted to look at it. And thanks for joining us. Again, thanks for defending your Second Amendment rights. This is shooting on the fly here with the Safariland holster for the Glock 34, and we'll catch you on the next one. If you like what you see, go ahead and click like up on the video here, or if you would like to see more of the same type of reviews, go ahead and subscribe to my page. I've already got a couple of other reviews. I've got a review of the Glock 34 on there, and there's going to be more coming. I've got a review of my Ruger SR9 is going to be in there, and lots of other good things to come. Hopefully, you know, I get a lot of videos up there pretty quick. But again, the Safariland holster, and be safe, defend your Second Amendment rights, and shooting on the fly. We'll catch you on the next one.